What's up and welcome to the Real Estate Agent Playbook. We are very excited to get back into some of these collabs with agents from around the country that are absolutely crushing it. Most will be in the WolfPack, the organization at EXP I am involved with, but just talk about where they're at, right? We're going to bring on new agents, experienced agents, former managing brokers, and everything in between. We want to make sure that we are giving you all the inspiration, the information, and some contacts, right, to reach out to in the event that some of this resonates with you. So today I am super excited to bring on Dawn Gonzales, a business partner of mine here at the WolfPack. Dawn has an absolutely amazing story. She has been a solo agent, top producer, turned managing broker. Now she, coaches and mentors and is an agent here in the WolfPack as my partner. So super excited to bring her on. So without further ado, we're going to let her tell the story and we'll see you on the podcast. What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Agent Playbook. Today, it's not just me on the screen. We have my partner and friend, Dawn Gonzales in the real estate world, and she is an absolute beast. So Dawn, thanks so much for hopping on.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I don't know that I've ever been called a beast before, but I'll take it.
You're a beast. Your story and your journey is nothing short of admirable, and really excited to kind of dive in. So let's just start by having you explain a little bit about yourself. Tell us kind of who Dawn Gonzales is.
Sure. Well, I guess Dawn Gonzales as the person, right? The human being first. I'm a mom. I'm a grandma. My kids are grown. They're at this point of the recording, they're 27 and 25. And I've got a 6-year-old granddaughter. These three are the heartbeat of my life. And so that's part of me on the personal side. I'm active in serving in my church. I'm a musician. I participate and sit on the board of a nonprofit organization that I love very dearly. And it's for support for families who have kids with special needs. And so that's part of my heart in my personal life. But I think in my business life, well, I'm a realtor, right? Just like most that are going to be probably watching this call. I've been doing this for, about 12 and a half years now. And it's always been a full-time gig for me. It's never been a side business or something just to support a hobby. It's always been a full-time career for me. And so that allows me obviously to serve people when they're buying and selling or investing in houses here in Colorado. But I've also loved mentoring new agents. And that's been something that really kind of landed on my lap very early in my career. And that's something that I enjoy very, very much. And so I balance real estate with selling, but also with teaching and coaching others.
So you do it all. So you're a beast, right? There you go. So that's a good place to start, and obviously been through so much, and you've taught me so much since joining the WolfPack and so on. So what did you do before real estate was part of that story?
Yeah, sure. So for me, I was straight out of high school. I graduated at 17 years old, and I got into the corporate world really quickly. So just after my 18th birthday, stepped into kind of the health field, if you will. I started working for a telemarketing company for pharmaceuticals initially. And then I got into the health insurance industry. And that's where I was working in an administrative fashion to the sales team for health products. I mean, this was insurance products. So it was selling insurance to individuals and families. We did have a group side for that too, but I was in the individual and family side. And did that until I got married and had my first child. And of course, analyzing the costs of daycare. And that was 27 years ago. Today, I'm sure it's equally expensive, but more so. It caused me to reevaluate my career position, since I was going to go to work to pay somebody else to watch my child. Made the hard decision of adjusting a budget that didn't have a lot of fluff and extra in it. But I stayed home with my daughter and was a stay-at-home mom for 14 and a half years. Mm-hmm. Of course, I had a son that came along too just shortly after, and had that privilege of getting to stay home with them. It was a huge sacrifice, not one of luxury. So before listeners are like, oh, that must be nice. Well, we couldn't afford an emergency and it was really difficult from a financial perspective, but I chose to stay home with my kids. That was our choice. I was also homeschooling mom for 7.5 of those years. And it was when they both developed the desire to step back into a formalized school system that it gave me an opportunity to think about career again for me. And so real estate was top of mind amongst a few other things, but real estate was something that I had high interest in. And so they went back to school and so did I.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, one of the coolest parts of the story is what comes next, right? Like kind of backs against the wall again, not in the, perfect situation where you could come in and you didn't have to sell a house. So tell us about that first, 30, 60, 90 days, 6 months in real estate, because that's something that is Hall of Fame-esque.
Well, truth be told, I even have a little prop over here on my bookshelf. I have kept this on my desk since I got my license in real estate, and it provides motivation for me. Of course, that motivation is a little different today with some additional perspective than it was when I first started. But when I decided to venture into real estate, I didn't have all this extra money, if you will. I mean, even getting my license and putting myself through school, I used a tax refund to do that. I didn't have extra cash. It was, okay, I'm going to take a portion of this much needed refund and invest it in this area to see what can happen here. My family had been on food stamps previously to that. And so this is my local Colorado EBT card, which works like a debit card that would be filled with funds to put food on the table for my family. And so coming into real estate, the conversation is often about goals. What is it that you're striving for? What are you aiming for? For me, it was like, I want to get off food stamps and I want to be able to provide for my kids consistently. I don't want to be concerned about where this basic need is going to come from anymore. And so I framed that just to be motivation for me in those early stages of building my business. But now it's a reminder to me that I want to be someone that has the ability to say yes more than I say no, and to be able to respond and give to others when the need is made, when I'm made aware of that kind of need, right? So you asked about my beginning. I got my license and very quickly found myself in a place where I was in a divorce and I was a single mom. And by saying that, I really was going to be the person watching my kids, managing our daily life, but also financing our life solely by myself. I didn't have financial support in any sort of way, and I was going to be the sole present parent from a local perspective. And so that was a real challenge to add to the top of that plate where now I'm trying to build a new business. I've been 14.5 years outside of any sort of career. Not that I had grown dumb or anything, but just I had been out of that hustle from a daily perspective for quite a while. And then now I was in a new industry where not only am I in sales, but I am building a business of my own. I had never been an entrepreneur before. And so it was a huge challenge to add that emotional layer on top of an already challenging opportunity, if you will. But it did provide, like you said, this back against the wall circumstance for me where this has to work. I do not have a college degree. I don't have an education to fall back on. And I have a gap of 14.5 years from my last full-time job. I had done other minimal things, but full-time job to now new full-time job had a large gap. And so there was a gap to recover, in my opinion. This has to work. This is where I'm invested. I don't have any additional cash for additional venture. And for me, more importantly, I am not going to call my mom or my sister and ask if we can move in. I was 35 years old. I'm completely capable. I can work hard. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. What do I got to do? Right. My brokerage firm at the time didn't have a mentorship program. So it really was a difficult process for me to just learn. It was kind of drink through the fire hose and learn as much as I could while being active and trying to generate income for me and my family. It worked, but it certainly was difficult because I was learning in fast forward, right?
Hmm.
But I was able to close 10 deals in my first 4 months in the business. And I was able to close 18 deals in my first year and a half and hit the income goal that may as well have been $1 million, in my opinion. At that time, it just had a lot of zeros and some
Was.
extra
Yeah.
commas in it. But this was a financial goal because it was a limiting belief and a ceiling for me that I was determined to break through. And I was able to do it in my first year and a half in the business.
which is which is crazy, and why you are such an amazing mentor and eventually became a broker owner. And we'll talk a little bit about that. As a broker owner, right? Having overseeing now, 50, 60 agents.
Mhm.
What was that process like to go from, clearly food stamps, a time of need back against the wall, and now you're helping all these other agents get going,
Sure.
right? And obviously you don't want to replicate that situation for them, but what are some things that, as a broker owner that, motivated you to really push these agents and develop some of the top agents in our current state right now, right? What were those things like, and what were those stories like?
Well, certainly I can't take credit all on my own because I didn't do it on my own. I did end up getting remarried, gentleman that was also in the industry as well in real estate and had been in leadership functioning both in a quote unquote team leader and managing broker perspective, had also run financials and whatnot for that brokerage firm that I started at. And that's where we met. That was not necessarily a vision that we had, was to start our own company. It's where we ended, but it's not what we had set out to do in our career path, if you will. Just opportunities led that direction. He actually had an opportunity at a different brokerage firm. We left the company we were at. And that was an incredible opportunity for growth for both of us. But when that company faced bankruptcy and was closing their doors, and then, of course, letting go of a lot of their staff and leadership, we were faced with this decision. Now what? Where are we going to go? And who are we going to partner with? And part of that conversation led to, why would we go somewhere else when we could do this on our own? And so really it was him that had the experience initially in that leadership capacity to be able to take that step. And I functioned for a good part of those years. We had that company for 7 years, and I functioned as a huge supportive role for him, doing a lot of the administrative stuff on the backside that was not seen, helping him when it came to managing the company books, being kind of our company event planner, creating community and connection within our agents. But we were able to grow that company from the two of us to 75 people within our first 12 months. And so that brokerage firm was profitable from the beginning, which was incredible. And we ran that company together for 5 years. And then my husband suddenly passed away. And so it was really on the heels of his passing that I stepped into leadership to carry the torch. I already had my managing broker license, or I guess employing broker level license. I'd had that for a few years, but I was functioning in a subordinate role to him in our company structure. But when he passed away, it was what I wanted to do. I think it was important for me to do it. It was a way to continue to carry his legacy, but also to keep moving as well. And so I did implement quite a few things in that first year, which I look back now and I'm not quite sure how I did. I had a pretty significant injury just a few weeks before he'd passed away, had broken my leg and was non-weight bearing. I couldn't drive. I mean, just a lot of obstacles, in my physical injury. And then he passed away 3 weeks later. So it was an incredible thing to step into and hold all of it, right? Not only healing my leg and learning how to walk again, but also healing my heart and learning how to walk again too. But holding the company was an important thing for me to do at the time. like I said, I was able to bring some new things into the company, some systems and processes that helped the compliance and auditing process be a little bit more seamless and automated for me. I became a CE trainer so that I could provide continuing education for the agents in my company, made some great connections with some other powerhouse forces in our industry, lenders and so forth. Was able to introduce my company to some of those folks. And of course, to continue the environment and the culture that we had up to that point. And I ran that company for a couple years by myself, and then made the decision that I couldn't juggle all of it. I was still in full-time production, closing over 20 deals a year myself. I was coaching agents and graduating a good 5 to 8 people from my program regularly, and then was managing the office too. I was burning the candle at both ends and was working all the time, and just decided this is no life for me, and I need to figure out a way to step into life-giving opportunities for me. And that meant I needed to let go of something. And through a lot of, prayer and decision and counsel from folks that were very dear to me, I made the decision to close the company. That was a really hard decision because it wasn't just about closing off a business, right? It was about closing off part of my heart too, because it was the only baby that he and I were going to have together. And so it was hard to let that go. But it was also very necessary for me, like I said, to step into life. I was still young and needed to embrace the fact that I still am living and I still have opportunity in front of me, both in my personal life and in my business. And how was I going to do that well? And so I chose to close it. And I think in turn with that, that led to my partnership with you and others within our organization here at our firm. And it has been just that, a life-giving opportunity for me, both on a business and personal level, to join you and to partner with you and others here in our organization. It's been incredible.
Yeah, I think that's, obviously starting from, backs against the wall a couple times, right? And you've only taken that in stride and been more successful than a lot of people would have been in those situations. So, you kind of talk about that. And now, when I left my dad's company, right, it was, okay, do I want to go to that brokerage role? Do I want to have that? And I had seen from, conversation from my dad and all the things that's not the 100% life for me, right?
Yeah.
When I came to EXP, I was able to be like, okay, I want to coach agents, and I want to be an inspiration, and I want to be a resource to agents and my agents and all the agents in the WolfPack, right? But I don't want to deal with litigations, and I don't want to deal with paying, keeping the lights on in the office and dealing with all the paperwork. And so it was a perfect opportunity for me. And you've kind of come into that role as well, right? At first you were like, I don't want to work on Sundays. I don't want to do this. I'm probably going to step out of production and really focus on mentorship. You kind of tailored your mentorship program that you do have now to our model and to our group. But then you were like, I kind of want to sell some houses again. So tell us a little bit about that transition and the flexibility that was afforded to you by taking that time and, really finding your way.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate the question. It has been a journey for me, even just in the now 2 years that I've been here at EXP, but one that's allowed me the ability to rediscover or to discover new. What is it that I enjoy? And I think that's the cool thing about this industry that we're in. There are so many different facets that you can function in the realm of real estate as an industry or as a career path. And I think I was given the ability, having closed down the company, also having closed down our corporate office location, removing some of that heavy weight, right, that came with managing a physical office, let alone, I think, managing a larger company with other business owners on top of my own individual career. It gave me the space and the freedom, I think, to discover what is it that I really am passionate about. How can I reignite those areas of passion in my heart and in my business life? And what does that get to look like now? Because this is new. This is a whole new place and season of life that I'm in. And so what can that look like? I really took some decent time. I mean, gosh, 4 months of my initial launch here into EXP, I was still closing down a commercial office space.
Hmm.
So my attention was there. But really through the support of folks like you and of Louis Galt that are in my direct upline, I took some time off. And I think that was most important. You guys were able to speak into my life and encourage me that you're a person first, and then you're a business owner or operator. And I was able to step into a place and allow myself some space and time to heal and to think and to cast a vision and dream in a different direction. And that was so critical for me. And that led into taking, an entire summer off, going on vacation a ton, camping with my family, disconnecting, not having my phone on, not having to respond to anything business related. Like nobody was pulling at me. And that allowed me to think, right? To think with some quiet.
Things can get accomplished when our back's not against the wall. All of a sudden in a
Yeah.
major life-changing fashion,
And
right?
I think what I discovered in that time was how much I really enjoy teaching, how
Mhm.
much I really enjoy coming alongside others. And that can show up in the client fashion, but how I enjoy coming alongside other agents to help them build a business that not only can support them and their families well, right? Not just base level, but can support them well, but also to teach them how they can maintain their personal life while doing that. And I think was able to remember how much I really enjoyed that aspect of what I was doing. And so then I dedicated 6 months out of that time off for myself. I dedicated 6 months to pour myself into revamping and recreating, recording new content specific for my mentorship program. And I'm really proud of the curriculum I was able to build. But I took 6 months additionally off to do that and to build that foundation so that then I could create a community around it.
Yep, absolutely. And, obviously there's a lot of real estate coaches, there's a lot of real estate trainers out there and things like that.
Mhm.
To have the ability to be mentored by someone like you that has done it, right? Lived it, done it on several different levels, faced every challenge that, we wouldn't wish upon anyone
Mhm.
to do and to come out the other side of that with that perspective, like, I want to teach other people how to do this, right? That heart to serve, back to your involvement with your church and all of those things are apparent, right? And your brand, shines through. And so yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. And as far as, the partnership with the WolfPack and where that's going, um, obviously you offer that to as a service to your agents that choose to join you and those kind of things. So if someone was interested in having a conversation with you, right, not necessarily about partnering or maybe about partnering, where would be the best place to kind of reach out to you and follow you?
Sure. Well, obviously, they can reach out to me on social. They can find me on Instagram easily. It's Dawn.the Gabriel Group on Instagram. That's an easy spot to connect with me. But I think as well, they can easily book a call with me. And I've provided you with my Calendly link to do that. And it offers various different opportunities for conversation when they go to that landing page on Calendly. It could be just to talk to somebody about the business. It could be to talk to somebody about potential mentorship. And that's not brokerage specific.
Mhm.
It could also be to talk about a brokerage firm. Why was it that I came here? What value was it that I saw here versus having a space of my own that had an entirely different structure? What does that offer? And I can certainly share from my experience what that has offered to someone like me. And I'm happy to have conversation with someone that's entertaining any of it or all of
Right.
it.
And so, honestly, if you're watching this at this point, you've seen Dawn's light, what she does for agents and her heart to serve, right? So if you at any point were like, "Oh, I'm right there," right? Or I'm close to that breaking point, it doesn't have to be, the divorce or, losing the husband or anything like that. Reach out, right? She's one of the most amazing mentors, coaches, inspirations that you guys can ever reach out to. So it was amazing having you on here and just kind of highlighting your story and your journey. So thanks so much for all you do. And do you have anything else to leave them with?
Sure. I think I would say I have never claimed to be or professed to be the highest performing agent or the best in the industry by any means. But I feel like what I have been able to do is what I said a little bit earlier. I've been able to provide a really great income that has allowed me to support myself and my family. It's allowed me to support my hobbies and the lifestyle, the things that I enjoy, the ability to give back to charitable organizations. So it has provided for me well. But I think what I have done that maybe is not seen as commonly in our industry is I've also been able to maintain a personal life. And so I've been able to create a great income that has supported me in those aspirations, but also something that has allowed me to live my life as a person. I've often said that real estate is not who I am, it's what I do, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's been important to me, is that I live my life first. I'm a person, I'm a human being, and those aspects of my life, relationships and whatnot, are incredibly important. I want to have the ability to pour into those well and sustain a decent living. And so.
So new agents, brokers, all the things, someone burning it at both ends, like you said. Dawn is a must follow on socials for sure. So Dawn, thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Take care.
Wow, just an incredible story. If anything Dawn said resonated with you right there, please do me a favor, hit the link in the comments below, book a time to chat with her. She is absolutely next level, and dare I say, a beast. But look forward to reaching out. Again, if you're interested in partnering with us at the WolfPack, the link is below. You can always go to reagentwolfpack.com, book a call with me. If you reference this call, we'll make sure to get you connected with Dawn as well. But thanks so much for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.